John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute
Okay,
the office of
there we
President.
go. Oops. Okay. Sorry about that.
Jacob.
Jesus.
Oh, edit that out, Max.
Perfect.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna blur it. I'll just blur it. Everyone will know that.
Perfect.
Oh,
Oh, right, I guess we're
Um,
started.
just take a little slug of water.
This is good.
The whole
Alrighty.
bit done.
Welcome to the
Just
Yikes
wait,
Thank you.
for our intro. Right, should someone explain
yeah.
what it is that we're fucking doing, or
Yeah,
should we
Tyler,
That's a good
Tyler.
idea.
Tyler, it's your idea. You explain it a little.
Okay, well, should I quickly intro the podcast?
Did you not hear me say welcome to the
Oh,
Yikes
Jacob
podcast?
intros a podcast. It's no yours.
I didn't.
No, I didn't hear you say
I
that.
know your place.
No, did you say that though?
Yes, I did say that.
Right. Well, this concept of today's episode of the Yikes podcast is we have all hopped on the trend of making presentations about subjects that are just dumb to pass time. However, we've thrown a twist, and all the dumb subjects that we hold no expertise in, we've done minimal research on, or have actually no idea what we're talking about. We've passed those subjects on to someone else in the podcast for them to then make the presentation. So it's further disassociation from actually what's supposed to be said and then what you're about to see in the presentation. And I'm being phoned by an unknown number.
Football.
Orgasms. Yes.
I'm trying to get my notes, but my fucking phone froze. Okay, hang on.
Tyler, your mic's muted, mate. You can keep it like that though. We've muted you.
No,
so-
he muted
Oh,
me.
no, Jay.
and my screen, Jacob muted me.
Oh, there's nothing on the right for mine. You're
Where's
just pointing
Jacob
nowhere.
then? Jacob muted me.
No, yeah, you're wanting to go
Hey.
that way, yeah, that
Right.
way.
Right. Harry, without further ado.
Oops.
What?
It's gotten old. So, hi. So my prompt was, following on from Tyler, which I'm sure we'll probably cut at, my prompt was how football has the ability to cause a man to climax without the use of physical contact. And that was by Jay. So I'm just going to get my notes up. So,
Is that you climaxing?
one of them. Rick Raw. I'm Harry, and this is a study into football and its mysterious orgasmic powers. Can you guys see my screen all right?
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
so.
Harry.
Fantastic.
This picture's amazing.
So, first we must explain what is a football. So, a football is a mysterious contraption. No one quite knows where they came from, but they've been speculated to be a part of our world for a very long time, bouncing alongside man since the late Cenozoic era, which is a while. With their strange hypnotic powers binding those who observe them into various opposing legions and factions, football is a huge part of our modern culture. But first, we must explore the origins further. The earliest known concrete records of a football date back to hieroglyphs in ancient Egypt, nearly 5,000 years ago. An ancient old legend says that a football mysteriously appeared in the temple of the pharaoh. At the mere sight of the strange ball, the pharaoh instantly came, thus falling in love with the ball. Football then became the signature sport for the ancient Egypt of that time, being loved by all for its pleasurable faculties. This tradition followed into modern day, where thousands will gather at a time and come united and triumphant. This photo is from the 2014 FIFA World Cup. All these beautiful people simultaneously splooging. It's also in recent years been used to treat erectile dysfunction, but it's in early stages. But it's looking hopeful, very hopeful. Here we have a group of unspecified teams losing control during a match. So no one really knows. No one really knows why football's the sport football causes people to orgasm spontaneously. But in recent past 50, 60 years, scientists have narrowed down several plausible theories. So some may think that the spheric, powerful shape of a football symbolizing unity and endless love within people. Others think it's the beautiful players and the models it attracts.
Oh, fucking hell.
Beautiful
Well,
ginger men.
I bet the real foot's not any better.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
mean, you
can we
get
appreciate
beautiful
that tattoo down the leg?
Gleiska Pals. You've got David Beckham, you've got Victoria Beckham, you've got Neil Lennon, very beautiful people. But I think the main
I'm
conclusion that we
alarmed at
can...
how much I'm actually very attracted to myself.
But the main conclusion we can gather from these studies is that football's power comes from its accessibility, because anyone with legs can play, anyone can support a team and join their crowds at a game, and these wonderful aspects are the true catalysts to giving a great hands-free climax. Any questions?
Well done.
I have a question.
Go on.
Was the Pharaoh Rangers or Celtic?
He was. Let me just go back through the hieroglyph. I mean, we don't know which side these people are on, but we can assume that this guy is Celtic.
I see. No, he's a real expert. That was well spotted. Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse
Sounds
me,
impressive.
young man, can you explain the first picture, the first slide?
I don't even remember. Hang on. that? Oh, that?
Yeah, can you explain what does this represent?
I just thought it was a funny picture. Oh, any more questions?
That was great. What year did you say football was discovered? 17 what?
No, it was about 5,000, 3,000 BC. Oh, speculated like early ancient Egypt.
Okay, interesting.
I think. Who knows?
Who knows?
I was on a lot of drugs when I did the research. Who knows?
Right. Thanks, Harry. Who wants to go
That's
next?
fantastic.
Thanks.
Hello, and welcome to Teriology, Alpha and Omega. Terence Howard's future-defining discovery and how it can improve your life. Now, I'm going to begin by asking a few simple questions. Jacob, what is 2 plus 2?
4.
Yep. Tyler, 3 times 3.
12. Is that right? Is that right?
It's 9. It's 9. It's 9.
I'm dyslexic. Fuck you guys.
Jay,
Throw
I thought
math on me.
you were
Jay,
joking.
what is 4 plus 12?
Atlanta.
Yes. And Harry, what is 1 times 1?
1?
Wrong! You are wrong! It's 2. And teriology will tell you how. What is teriology? The key to teriology is an open mind and heart. Here we have Terence Howard, who you may remember from the hit show Empire. As you can see, Terry has 2 eyes, a nice tash growing in this current photo, and he is respectable. Look at the suit. Respectable.
Does the suit make you immediately respectable?
Yes, it does. Open mind and heart.
Is that it?
It is the cornerstone on which societies are built, even if they don't realise it. The global elites suppress it, just as they always have, although some rise above the rest. And it is, in fact, the path to true enlightenment. Let's talk about the maths here. There's a basic principle in teriology. 1 times 1 equals 2. This is the truth that Terence Howard unleashed upon the world in his groundbreaking tweet in 2017. His full thesis available on his Twitter profile to this very day. And it is 1 times 1 equals 2. You can see here, I've taken the 3rd page excerpt right here. And you can follow the maths along. It really is quite simple. You cannot have something multiply into itself. It doesn't work. A multiplication is an increase in value, and without an direct increase in value, it cannot exist. 1 times 1 cannot be 1. It must be 2. Multiplying something must increase its value. Otherwise, the universe itself would be static. Take the Big Bang, for example.
What the fuck?
There was only one singular point in space when the Big Bang began. So
Yeah.
therefore, it could not multiply into itself. It would create nothing. It has to become more. Therefore, 1 times 1 is 2. Statistics. They exist, and they are probably right. It's common sense. Fuck you, idiot. Evidence 1. To quote our Lord Terence Howard, if 1 times 1 equals 1, that means 2 is of no value because 1 times itself has no effect. 1 times 1 equals 2 because the square root of 4 is 2. So what's the square root of 2? Should be 1, but we're told it's 2, and that cannot be. An actual quote from Terence Howard. That is it. It's that simple. And this cartoon rat that I've circled proves it even further. But I know, it's hard to wrap your head around this universe-defining fact. If you can't see it yet, let's go further down the rabbit hole, or perhaps the rabbit square, if you will. Bubbles and teleology. Now that we know that 1 times 1 is 2, let's talk bubbles. A bubble is round. Look at it. Go on, I'll wait. But bubbles, why are they round? 1 times 1 equals 2. From this we know that something round is in fact round. Nice. This is why round things aren't square, or even triangular. But they can be circular. Wrong. Why does teleology prove you have more faces than you think you do? Terry is a pretty cool guy, and he's done a lot of acting. So much acting that he's become, and I quote, tired of pretending. He has pretty big muscles, and they tell us one thing, that we must have a face for every occasion. How do we know that the exact number is possibly 423, you ask?
What?
Let's look at the math of faces. 1. 1 times 1 is 2. 2. 2 times 1 times 1, which is 2, is 4. 4 plus the number of possible situations that any human being can be in at a given time, 423. 423 divided by 100 is 1. This is the circle, or the spiral, if you will. Where does the spiral end? We do not know. Probably at 423. The many faces of a man could be sad or happy or exuberant, but never jaded. There is no face for jaded, despite Elon Musk's attempts to prove otherwise. People who don't agree with teleology don't exist. This has been said by Terence Howard, and this is fact. All of your haters don't really exist. They're just frequencies. That's it. Look at this. Terry is a pretty cool dude. Why would he make it up? He's right. He's got no reason to lie. He's a successful man. His life would be good without it. Did you know that he left his chemical engineering degree because of teleology? He got into an argument with his lecturer and could not resolve the fact with him that 1 times 1 equaled 2. And so he left to pursue art as a career.
Is that true?
That is absolutely true. Anything that I have attributed as a quote to Terence Howard is 100% true. Anything in quote marks is something that he has said.
Oh my god.
You can see this helpful pyramid here as well.
Terry.
Oh, sorry, I'll go back a bit. There's Terry at the top of the pyramid in red,
Yeah.
us, and then Terry but in white. People who like teleology, not the film It. Maggie, she liked teleology. She was good with numbers, as we all know. That's how we won the Falklands.
No.
Big Jeff.
Oh.
Here he is by the mass board. Everybody knows that Jeff was very good with numbers. Very, very good with numbers. Everybody knows that Jeff was good with numbers. I mean, look right here. You can see in the evidence on his blackboard where he was doing advanced equations. He does.
Is
in
that just
fact
a new piece
describe
of chalk
the
there, bro, that way?
teleology. That is what Jeffrey Epstein wrote. I'll have you know. And he was a well-known practitioner. That's why the elite killed him. All this not, it's all a cover-up. He subscribed to teleology. It's really that simple.
Oh my god.
Mary Kate Olsen. The good one, not the other one. Mary Kate Olsen is a well-known practitioner of teleology and has used it to further her career considerably better than her sisters, if I do say so myself. And finally, Terry, who you should probably trust by this point.
It's fucking terrifying.
So let's review. That's it. We'll recap. You have 423 faces. This is because 1 times 1 equals 2. And bubbles are not square. I have explained this already. If bubbles aren't square, 1 times 1 must equal 2. Therefore, you have 423 faces. Probably. This is teleology. I've been Max Blair. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Hello, I'm Tyler Brown. I will be presenting the theory, that cyclists are the weakest prey in nature. The subject was given to me by Max, the crazy man that just spoke 2 seconds ago. That's something wedged in my jaw. I've created notes. Give me talking points. So, the thesis of cyclists and how they are the weakest prey in nature. To begin, we must have a look at what is a cyclist and how is a cyclist. What is a cyclist and why is a cyclist is what I've wrote in the presentation, but not in my notes. First, a cyclist. As people know, a cyclist is someone who's chosen to use a bike as their mode of transport other than any form of transport. They typically cycle to work. I'm one to target cyclists on the road because they're the worst form of cyclists. They have chosen to transport in the worst way possible, regardless to the fact that they are now an inconvenience to every single person that hasn't chosen to cycle on the road. They are just dreadful. They are identified in nature like a lot of birds are identified in nature by key attributes. Cyclists on the road are typically identified by some obvious things, like the wheels that are underneath them, typically 2, sometimes 3 if it's an 8-year-old. They often wear bright coloured, noncy looking clothes, as this lady in the demonstration is wearing. They often, if they are not on the bike, they have this aura of superiority, despite the fact that they do just smell of cheap sportswear and ass sweat. Even if they're in disguise as non-cyclists, will often be identified by the fact that they have told you that they cycle to work because it's better for the environment and better for their health, while I'm just listening and thinking to myself, it might kill them. Cyclists typically choose to cycle for reasons I could not find. There's no sensible reason someone would get on such a feeble little device and drive on a road where there's trucks and cars and just better things in nature, like not cyclists. Now, on the subject of prey and why they're the weakest type of prey, we need to understand what prey and predator is. So, what makes good prey and why makes good prey? Charles Darwin once said, "Nature's natural." I'm just fucking dyslexic. Natural selection, as we shall hereafter see, is a powerful word ready for action. It is immeasurably superior to man's feeble efforts, as the work of nature are to those of art, whatever that means. But basically, in natural selection, there is prey and there is predator, and I believe that there's attributes in nature's prey that cyclists naturally just have. Here are some prey in nature you'd find. Here is some sort of deer-like thing. one of the key attributes that I tried to find is a pattern. And I noticed most prey have 4 limbs that all do the same thing. Whereas humans can move with their 2 legs and do other things with their arms. You can run and punch at the same time, whereas most 4-legged creatures can't. Fish have no limbs, the little fuckers. They have no defense mechanism other than they can move slightly better than everyone else. Then you have this creature down the bottom, the Squidward-looking thing. Its only defense is on its head, and so it can't make any eye contact, and that's a key attribute, is that the defense of cyclists is something that they can't control. I'll get to that. And the 4th little creature, the baby owl, that just has no style. That kind of goes back to the non-sale look of most road cyclists. And what I've concluded is that animal is weak. Fish are weak. That thing is weak, and that little bitch thing is weak. Now, with the attributes I've identified in the previous slide, let's look at human cyclists. Look at this man wearing socks. Is he wearing sock shoes? I've just looked at this photo for the first time. Now, based on the first prey identified, where all their limbs are useless and can't be used as defense, a cyclist has given up their ability to do one thing with one hand, another thing with another hand, and move at the same time. To use all 4 limbs to move one thing, so they've sacrificed any form of defense. And the only form of defense that remains is the bike themselves, which the cyclist is using a bike as a weapon. They can only do it once, because upon impact, they're off the bike. And the no style, the third point there, this man doesn't look intimidating. He's very athletic, probably fitter than any of us in the room. Just look at that for a good minute. It's a mess. Now, going on to the fish attribute, how fish can move better than most other things. Hunting it, yes, cyclists can move faster than a human on 2 feet. However, when a cyclist wipes out in their escape, they are fucked. And a cyclist was flying off their bike, as I have fell off my bike before and separated my arm from the shoulder, from the elbow. It was a fucking mess. I was wrapped around in the bike, and if a cyclist were to evade an attacker and fuck just once, they are now entangled in this metal contraption as they are jumped and mugged of everything they have on them. Typically, their watch that they keep in their little ass pocket, aerodynamics. Also, if you choose to ride a bike, you have chosen to sacrifice your natural born ability to defend yourself with your hands and your feet and your claws. They call it your nails. You can claw at people. You can do your best. But a cyclist can do fuck all but cycle away. Weak. They're the weakest, I think, is what I tried to get there. Now, let's look at Predator. And I mean, like, apex Predator, not like some... Danny DeVito's not a Predator. Let's just clarify that. He's the apex form. Now, as you can see, a human not on a bike has 4 individual limbs. Look at Danny DeVito right here. He's currently waving to someone with 1 foot, while signaling to someone to sit down with another. He was scratching his thigh with 1 hand and readjusting his probably elongated ball sack with another hand. He's doing 4 different great things that human should be able to do. If he were on a bike, none of that would be happening. Humans have a natural armor, and that is typically the fat on them. And cyclists, being lean and mighty, are just pencil thin. When Danny DeVito were to ever be attacked on stage at that moment, he has everything at his abilities. Stand up, he can duck, he can roll, he can punch, elbow, claw, all that shit. If he was on a bike, he'd be fucked. In conclusion, if you choose to ride a bike, you're the lowest, most vulnerable form of prey because you can't defend yourself from fuck all. Demonstration here. If I was running, I wouldn't have ran into the back of that car. That's really it. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's Jesus. All right.
Yeah, he couldn't even defend himself from God because he was on a bike, little bitch.
Question. What about Lance Armstrong?
I mean, he lost. He got caught cheat. He had to cheat to be a good cyclist.
That's what I'm asking. Just wanted your take on it, Professor.
Well, if you have to cheat to be good at a sport that no one really chooses to do, then Are you cheating at the right thing?
Just sort of like ended up on a bike one day, you know?
Yeah, like I was thinking about Chris Hoy, the man who tried to sell me Kellogg's on TV years ago. Like he was a cyclist, and he looks like he could take me in a fight, but at the same time, he's a
Not on a bike.
cyclist. Yeah, on a bike. On a bike, what's he gonna do? Yeah, he could run me over really hard. He'll take more damage. Hopefully.
Did Chris Hoy not do something really bad?
Well, when I googled his name, a photo of his thighs came up, and I don't really know the context.
That's
of
pretty
that.
bad. That's
Yeah.
bad. I'd condemn that.
I know that Lance Armstrong. Here's the thing about Lance Armstrong, by the way. He got caught cheating because all the other athletes were cheating, but he was still beating them. So it was like they were all cheating to be cyclists. They all had to use performance-enhancing drugs, make themselves feel less lower on the food chain. Somehow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Glasgow film clubs are front for organised crime. This was given by Jacob, who I already suspect has got an involvement in this.
But Yikes is an art club, not a film club.
It's
That's what it says in the papers.
It's a brand. I'll
I
have
will-
you know. Don't associate.
I will get
with
into
criminal.
that.
Is
So
it a charity?
the main shut the fuck up. So the main players in this crime network, it's part of a pyramid scheme, in my opinion. Church at the bottom of this pile. They have been disbanded. They are no longer active. We no longer seek revenge on them. The Everyman Cinema in Princess Garden Shopping Centre, one that's in City Centre, can't remember. And Yikes, previously as a film club, now an art club. The middle players in this pyramid of evil, the Odeon at the key, and the GFT. And at the top of this pyramid, the leaders, the ones behind what I will describe. Cineworld. Look at it. Just
Oh.
look at it. Massive.
Sort of looks like a pyramid.
They're piece of shit. The crimes that have been committed by Cineworld, which have been funded by these smaller companies,
It's backing
War
wars.
crimes.
Different.
war crimes. The funds come from the unlimited card scheme. But it wasn't enough.
No, it doesn't.
But it wasn't enough. So the smaller film clubs make up a small majority. And because it's a pyramid scheme, a lot of that money goes to the top, which then boosts Cineworld's ability to be evil. They installed Cineworld generals at all of these clubs so they can stay with the company. The control stays all there. And they now call themselves Cineworld. The evidence to prove this man is Jacob Wattles. Jacob Wattles. His aliases go by David Hydrate, Alexander the War Criminal, Salty Susan, and Clint Eastwood Drummer. I call him Dangerous. Repeat that. Dangerous. The evidence to prove this. He worked for Cineworld. He runs a film club.
Oh.
He lost his job due to the coronavirus. This is a lie. He retired to Barhead, living on a comfortable payout from Cineworld's direct dictators. He was paid out his uniform in 48 quid. So what have Cineworld done? Started a secret war between Latvia and Mexico. Apparently the US were quite confused between what a Latvian and a Latino is, so they both got angry and started fighting.
No.
They fed Charlie Sheen heroin because they wanted to see him spiral into a dark place.
He's
Actively support Coldplay fans. This is a sin within itself.
Actually.
Did indescribable things to SpongeBob.
Oh no, I get that.
Yeah.
But why? Anger. Every event that happened that they have been attached to has also been attached to a movie that was bad. It came out at the same time. The Emoji Movie came out on the 4th of August 2017. Latvia and Mexico were at war on the 8th. It was a Tuesday. Jack and Jill was released on the 3rd of February 2012. Just one day later, they made Greenland declare war on Vietnam. The declaration was made by a statement entitled, "Fuck it." So to conclude, please do support small film clubs of Glasgow and beyond if you like to support war criminals.
Oh no!
War crimes.
This looks like a stressful PowerPoint.
Right.
God, just use Microsoft PowerPoint. What the fuck?
I can't afford it.
Fucking Google PowerPoints, man.
Leave me alone. Right.
Clap.
Hello, everyone. I am Jacob Waters, known and suspected war criminal. And today I will tell you why Oceana, which I didn't know how to pronounce until today, is in fact a crisis actor. Fact one, can't find it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fact one, can't find it. Can't find a way to get to it. Take out your phone now, right? Max, get your phone.
I've got my phone. What should I do?
Mm-hmm.
Google how to drive to Australia on your phone right now. This is not a
How-
Photoshop. This is what will actually happen.
To drive to Australia.
Australia message board. I'm trying to research driving from the UK to Australia.
Right.
I can get as far as South Asia, and then I don't know how to get across the sea.
Because it's not there. Next slide. Crisis actors.
The of crisis actors.
What are crisis actors?
Good question.
Crisis actors. I'll give you an example. Your dad's probably a crisis actor.
What?
When you meet a girl on Tinder and she stops texting after the second reply, she's a crisis actor. It's basically a fancy way of saying fake, right? Now, I'd propose that Australia is entirely populated by these crisis actors. And in fact, I'll get to it later, but I have video evidence of how someone could not possibly exist. Someone who claims that they're Australian could not possibly exist. But before that, I have some quotes from so-called Australian actors. It's true. It's all true. Total bloodbath from Hugh Jackman. We also have Big Chris Hemsworth. I am fat, but not fatter than the lie that is my birthland. Truly telling. But why? Why lie? That is why. Mass murder. See, in the 18th century, I don't know if it was the 18th century only. I started this at like 7 o'clock, but I think it was the 18th century. Britain had to get rid of 160,000 prisoners. So what did they do? They loaded them onto the ship, telling them that they would take them to this land called Australia. Did they fuck? They just opened the door, chucked them overboard. All dead. Mission accomplished.
He's actually dying.
Halfway through making this at 7:10 p.m, I got a phone call from a woman called Annie from Greenpeace. I'd been putting
What does that even say?
I'd been putting their calls off for months. They kept calling me when I was out and about, but I figured I'd carry on. I asked her opinion. So in exchange for a £10 donation a month, She agreed with me. This is what we refer to as a bribe. But you heard it here. Greenpeace thinks that Australia is fake. Lastly, Exhibit F, Tony Two Nipples Abbott, former Prime Minister of Australia, mad cunt, kills dogs, threatened to kill Johnny Depp and his dogs. Favorite food is onions, right? Goes by Tone. Now, I have to disclaim this.
Fuck me, he's packing.
Where's Speedos? Yeah, I can point to the Speedos. There we go. You guys see that?
Yeah.
All right. This is this footage. This is real, unedited, raw footage. The newscaster who captured this is now dead, but I must warn you, it is truly disturbing what you are about to see.
What was?
Is that David Byrne? Suit's gotten a bit smaller. It's just people talking now. Can you turn the sound on?
What?
Who does
Oh
that?
my God.
It's
Who
so
does that?
laggy.
That's fucking rotten. Gary, watch 50 seconds of that. Just for you to go, who does that?
Cool.
Is that it? Can I stop pointing at this shit? In conclusion, fake. Any questions?
Guys, see the last slide?
It's gone.
There was no last slide.
Go back to Greenpeace, but there's a line in it that I want to read again because I still
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand what it means.
I think you'll find it's very clear, Jay. If you're just not intelligent enough, I can try break it down. But hold on, there we are.
In
Oh,
exchange,
Oh,
in exchange for a donation, she agreed to pay me with agreed opinion that
That was real.
Australia was fake.
Listen, this is a learning disabled community that we're running right now.
Is it fucking Roman times they'd have put you to death?
They'd have killed me, Jacob, instantly.
Interviewable with Annie from Greenpeace.
The space in there.
It's-
I'm interviewable. I've never seen anyone accidentally go back to the slide of
Introvert! Introvert!
I'm just trying to be dyslexic. Hey, I just care a lot about the dyslexic community.
Oh, thank you. I love their names. I didn't see anything wrong with this when I read it, by the way. My brain did not see anything wrong with it.
This goes back to my theory of if people misspell things on purpose, you see it the right way.
Agreed opinion on that Australia. Let's say that's actually a pretty decently spelled one.
That was incredible. It was the fact you accidentally went back to the George Bush photo. Like, oh, that's the wrong slide.
Do not have bovine fella.
No, can I just clarify when it went downhill for me in the best way possible?
Uh-huh.
You said, right, before I say this, we're going to show a video. And before the video, I'm going to read these. And it was like, you never showed it, and after the video, you just showed everything. Huge ass, man. That was the best.
Well,
Great,
it's
that's
been
the end of the
interesting.
podcast.
Right?
That was